Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. If you've been watching a couple of my previous videos, I've been making a lot of concrete weight plates, and due to that, I am now in need of a weight plate tree. I've kind of just got plates sitting everywhere, getting in the way. I kind of just want one convenient location for them all to be stored and just make my whole workout a little bit easier. So what I'm going to be doing today is showing you how to make a weight plate tree. I've been looking up a few designs online, and there's one that's pretty simple that I like. Seems like it's going to be pretty easy to tailor to the size of my plates, the diameter. Really all it took in terms of raw materials was a couple pieces of 8 or 10, probably 10 foot 2x4, and a few stakes. I got these steel concrete stakes in the concrete section that should hold up perfectly for the weight plates that we're going to be putting on it. I'm just going to kind of design it as I'm building it. I think it'll be pretty easy to build, so I'm not too concerned about designing it as we're building it. I think it'll be easy to just hold the plates up to here, mark where I need to drill my holes, and make an accurate weight tree rather than going through all the effort to design it and then making changes during the build because there's something I missed out on. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is figure out how tall the tree is going to be, which is dependent on the spacing of the actual plates. So, first thing we need to do is put our foot, which is going to be touching the ground, on here, and mark that. Because our first weight plate, which is going to be our 45s, can't be beneath that line. So I'm just marking that line there so I can take this piece of wood off, and then I'm just going to set the plates and space them out on this tree, and then mark the top of where the top hole needs to be, and that's how we know how long our tree is going to be. So we're going to put the weight plate just above that line to give the plate a little bit of space. Okay, so right here is where the foot of the tree is going to be. The concrete 45-pound weight plate is just above that line that we marked right now. Now, the steel rod that I got from the concrete section is probably only like 3/4 of an inch thick, whereas the plates have a 2-inch center. So we need to make sure that this is touching the top of our weight plate here, so that when we set it on, gravity pulls it down, it's not going to go further down. You don't want to drill the center of that hole because then your weight plate's going to shift down, whatever that difference is right there, and it would be touching your foot. So make sure you put it at the top of your hole there, so that way once gravity takes hold, it's not going to move any further than where you need it to be. So I'm going to mark the top of our hole there, and I'll center that later on. Okay, so next up is our 25-pound plate, and I'm giving it just like a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch of clearance in between the plates, just to give us a little bit of wiggle room. And that looks about good to me. So again, I'm going to mark the top of where the hole on our plate meets the wood, and again, I'll center that marking. Once we get the plates off, this is just for spacing to figure out how tall we need to be. Okay, and lastly, we've got our 10s. The 5s are even smaller, so we don't have to worry about the 5s. Again, we'll mark the top of where our hole meets the wood, and we can take our plates off now and center those markings. Okay, this is our 45-pound marking here. The wood is 3.5 inches, 1 3/4 is centered. It's just under 1 3/4. That one's right at. So it's boom. Okay. One mark there. Okay. Did that for all 3. We've got our 3 holes marked out here. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so we figured out the height that we need for our weight tree. 39 inches is where the top hole sits, so I'll probably do, I don't know, maybe 3 inches above that as additional space at the top of the tree. So I'll do 42 inches. We'll call it 42. So it's going to be 42 inches tall. Top hole's at 39, the next hole is at 28. The bottom hole is just about 13 inches from the ground. 42 inches. That's pretty comfortable. I'm happy with that. Okay, so we're gonna cut 2 lengths of 42 inches of this 2x4. We're going to put a piece of 2x4 in between them to give a little bit of stability and strength to the tree, stabilize the stake that's gonna be holding on the weight, and it kind of gives you a little bit of flexibility if you want to put a stake on the top. It's a little bit easier to do that rather than using a 4x4, which doesn't have any gap in the middle. And you'll see what I mean by that at the end. Alright, so let's cut our 2 lengths of 42 inches of 2x4, and then we'll work on screwing them together. Just a reminder that I am making this custom to my weight plates, so please don't follow those specific measurements. Go ahead and measure out the spacing you need for your plates and make that cut. Measure twice, cut once. Easier said than done. So remember the thing I said about measuring twice and cutting once? Well, I measured twice, and I did cut once. It was just on the wrong line. Sometimes you wonder how you make it through a day, and this is one of those occasions. It's not the biggest mistake because one of these boards has to be our feet anyway, so this will just turn into our feet, but it is frustrating if you didn't have extra lumber. So I'm going to make an amendment to that statement. Measure twice, cut once at the part that you measured. Now that was a 42-inch cut. Okay, so for the second one, I'm just going to lay the first 42-inch cut on top, mark the end, and chop it off there so that it's functionally the exact same in case you mess your cut up a little bit. Alright, so we got 2 42-inch lengths of 2x4 now. So we've got our 12-inch cutoff here from the 2 42-inch lengths of 2x4. And I'm going to chop this into 4 sections of 3 inches, and that's what we'll use for the spacers here. But before we put the spacers in between our 2 42-inch lengths, I'm going to drill our holes. I'll clamp them together, drill our holes so we know that our holes are in exact alignment so that when we put our peg through, the stake through, it will definitely line up. The diameter of our peg is about 11/16. Nice and clean. Hideous! Yeah, that's not too good. Maybe I'll just put a lot less pressure. Once I'm getting to the bottom there, okay, I think that hole was a lot cleaner on the bottom side because I didn't put as much pressure. Oh yeah. So that's our first hole. That's our second hole. So I just put a lot less pressure on it for the second one. Okay, so we have our holes, and that's an extremely tight fit. If I were to hammer it, I might be able to get that in. I could try. I'll try hammering it and seeing what happens. But if it's too tight, we'll just widen that hole up a little bit. No. I mean, I could definitely hammer this in, but there's no point in doing that. It might split the wood. Better to be safe than sorry and just bore that out a little bit with probably the 3/4 spade. We'll bore it out a little bit and then try again. Okay, now before I do the other 3, I'm just gonna check that this steak fits into the hole. Oh yeah, much better. Okay, that'll slide through just fine. It's already through the other side. So I'm confident in that. I'll take this tape off of all of them, but that will definitely fit through just by hand. I can get that to go through, but it's nice and snug. So that's exactly what we wanted. It is 3/4. I wish it said that somewhere on the steak. Probably said it on the shelf and I was just too lazy to read it. So now we've got our 3 holes drilled out. We know that our steaks fit nice and securely inside them. They're not gonna wiggle around. Now I'm gonna chop this cutoff into 4 pieces. Use it as the spacer between these 2 boards to give us, again, just a little more stability with our steak that's gonna go in here. We'll screw those together, get that nice and solid, make sure we're lining up our holes, and then we'll put the feet on, put the steaks in, and we're done. Just marking out 3-inch sections. Okay, so we've got our cutoffs here, cut relatively evenly. They don't really need to be perfect. So now we're gonna take these, we're gonna place them in between our 2 42-inch boards and screw those together. Okay, so this gives you a better idea of what I meant by the spacing. I've got these spaced out relatively evenly throughout this. They're just beneath where the peg is going to go through to kind of add a little bit extra support. I don't want to put them right through the hole because drilling through this might weaken it, might lead it to crack. Really the goal of having these in between here is to hold these 2 42-inch pieces together. It doesn't necessarily need to support that peg because it's going to have plenty of support with these 2 pieces of wood. So, gonna screw into those, combine these, and then we'll get the feet on. One side down. So now we just need to line up the holes. Okay, so we got one side screwed on, stuck in place. Now all we need to do is get the other side on and make sure these holes are lined up. So what I'm gonna do is just put the stakes through and use that to make sure that the holes are lined up, and then once those are through, flip it over, make our guide holes on the other side, drill in our screws, and then we'll put our feet on and we'll be done. So this peg here, in order for this brace to be flush with the top, I'm gonna have to drill a little bit of a hole into it because it cuts into where the hole is drilled. Alright, so we've got all 3 of our stakes in. I'm gonna flip it over, drill some guide holes on the other side, screw those in, and then we'll get the feet on. There she is. Beautiful. Alright, so now just have to put the legs on and that's it. Okay, so we need to put the feet on now, and just eyeballing it, 25 inches looks like pretty much exactly what I want to go for. So 25 inches is cut off right there. I like how that looks. It extends out a little bit past each of these pins. It's important that you put the feet on in this direction, because if you're loading your plates on either side here, that means most of the stress is going to be in this direction, pulling this way or that way. So you want to secure this foot so that it's decreasing that stress going left and right here. If you were to put the foot on this way and you load your weight pins on, it can tilt this direction, and this leg's not really going to be doing you any good because it's not going to be pulled in either of these directions. So this isn't going to give you much stability if you put it on this way. So we will secure it this way, going the same direction as the pins. That way, if it wobbles, the leg is going to keep it upright. And then we'll just add a little piece of 2x4 to help with any sideways wobble, which there shouldn't be much, but we'll add a little piece there just to help out. Okay, so I'm shifting the weight back and forth, and it's got a little bit more wiggle than I am comfortable with. So I'll probably just add 2 more screws on each side. Okay, so now I'm going to cut this in half and attach this to the side here. Hopefully stabilize it from tipping sideways. Here she is in all her glory. I am super happy with how this came out. I haven't actually tested it out yet and loaded it up with weight plates. So we're gonna test it out now, see if we can fit all our weight plates on here and how sturdy it is. Off we go. Some 25s on there. Wow. That looks weird. Alright, that's it. She's all done. What do you guys think? I love it. It fits all of my weight plates perfectly. It is going to keep my space clutter-free so I can kind of clear up my mind and focus on my workout. I don't have these plates sitting around everywhere. It's super affordable for the 3 rods plus the 2 8-foot sections of 2x4. I spent about $25-$30 total. Put a little bit of hardware in there with the screws. It's about $25-$30. So it's less than half the price you would pay from a retail store to get a weight plate rack that's got 3 tiers. And it's super strong, it's going to be super sturdy, it's going to last me a long time. I highly recommend that if you're at all interested in this, just pull the trigger. There's no reason not to. I know my channel is called Know It All, and I don't want you misinterpreting that as me thinking I know it all. It's kind of tongue-in-cheek, like a know-it-all, like someone that thinks they know everything but they don't actually, and it's kind of annoying usually. But half the time I'm making these videos and doing projects, I don't know what I'm doing. But just because you don't know what you're doing doesn't mean that you can't do it. And that's kind of what I want to inspire, I think, in this channel. It's kind of something that I've honed in on as I've been making videos, is that I really want people watching my videos to be inspired to try it because they saw someone doing it that doesn't really know how to do it, but just attempting it and doing it and making mistakes and learning from them, and hopefully you learning from my mistakes inspires you to actually go ahead and do those projects or take on that task that seems big but in reality isn't. Anyways, I'm just rambling. It's late. I'm tired. Love how this turned out. I hope you guys enjoyed watching the video. I hope this inspired you. If you did like this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Right now, I'm just kind of focusing on building out my home gym, which a lot of other people are doing during quarantine right now. That focus may change a little bit in the future as I build out my gym. But right now, that's kind of where the focus is. So if you're interested in more content like this, again, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.